Hey guys, Brandon Hunter here, and I'm out here on Kentucky Lake. It's the last week of February. Water temperature's already in the mid 50s, and the fish are really wanting to get up here on the banks, and the fishing's been really good. It's been, every day's hit or miss this time of year. We're getting some warm days, some cold days, but I want to talk to you just real quick about something I'm going to do a little bit different this go around. I'm actually home this year from the FLW tour, and I'm going to have a little bit more time on my hands. So not only am I going to do my written fishing reports that you're going to find on KentuckyLake.com, ExploreKentuckyLake.com, and all those different websites, but I'm actually going to do some videos, some how-tos. I'm going to show you what the water temperature is, what kind of structure that the fish are on, and I'm going to do this from starting right now, probably one a month, all the way through the fall. So keep an eye out for that stuff. But just real quick, I'll talk to you just a little bit about what's going on out here on Kentucky Lake. I've got a few different baits here I'm going to talk about. The very first one is the LC RTO 1.5. Anytime the fish get up on those secondary points, they get around those channel swing banks where you're looking for that deep water close by that swings right up next to the bank. It doesn't matter what kind of crankbait you like. This is the one that I prefer. This is the DD. They make a shallow version as well. TO crawl color. Really good bait to just cover water. Conditions are absolutely perfect for that shallow running crankbait right now. We're out here. The wind's finally started to blow a little bit. It's like it's blowing right out of the north. You get on these chunk rock banks this time of year, when that water temperature hits 55 degrees, it's 56 degrees. I'm seeing 56 degrees here in 3 foot of water. You can put this crankbait in your hand and just go down these banks. They want to relate to the chunk rock transition banks, that's got some deep water here close by. Anywhere where there's pea gravel that meets that big chunk rock, those are key places to look for this time of year. One other bait that's really popular this time of year is a lipless crankbait. Everybody knows the old school Bill Lewis rattle trap's probably caught more bass on this lake than any other bait out there. This is the same color, TO crawl. It's got an orange belly on it. It mimics those crawdad that those fish are up there roaming those rocks and feeding on. Probably one of the most popular ways to catch a bass on Kentucky Lake in the springtime is a lipless crankbait. A lot of different brands out there that work really well. Probably one of the most popular is the old school Bill Lewis rattle trap, and it's probably caught more bass on this lake than a plumb 10-inch worm in the summertime. But the thing about it is, on these cloudy days, these fish will roam. They'll get pulled up tight to the bank. With a lipless, you can get on these flats and these secondary points like we're fishing here that just come out, and it's got some pretty good water on it. You don't have to get up in that 1 foot depth range. A lot of times on those sunny days when that water temperature hits mid 50s, they'll get up there in that much water. But the good thing about the lipless is that you can take this thing and just cover a ton of water. You can come out here and just point hop, just get on these secondary points down through here with any kind of chunk rock and pea gravel and chunk and wind all day long. And it's not always fast and furious, but a lot of times you're just looking for that reaction bite. You can see how calm it is right down through here. Actually, when we pulled up back here, the wind, a little bit of a breeze blowing in on this point here. And one thing to keep in mind in the springtime is if you have wind is your best friend out here. What it does really more or less is it keeps everything kind of active. The bait fish are constantly moving around in the wind. They're getting blown on different points. And I realize it's aggravating fishing sometime in the spring if you have those 25, 30 mile an hour gusts. But you always want, this is pretty slick right here for throwing a lipless or a crankbait, either one. You always want that wind, but keep that in the back of your mind. Wind is your best friend in the springtime. Another bait that we fish a lot of this time of year is a jerkbait. And I don't know how much they're still on a jerkbait. We've had such warm days that those fish are really wanting to get pulled up on the bank. I still think there's some fish to be caught on the jerkbait. This is the Flash Pointer 115. It's pearl threadfin shad. Keep it simple. Shad colors, something a little brighter for those cloudy days, maybe a little off-colored water. One other technique that works really good out here is fishing a jerkbait out offshore. And the whole key is finding those flats that have deep water close by. We're actually in a ditch here that runs up through this flat, and that's enough. That 8 or 10 foot of water, 12 foot of water is enough it's enough deep water to hold those bass. Whenever you're looking at your graph and you're idling in a place, what you look for is those really steep, those tight contour lines together, and that means that there's really steep drop off there and that good deep water's close by. It's no different fishing out here on the main lake. It's just fishing flats. And the key is rock and wood. They want to be around some sort of cover. Whereas on the bank, it may be fish are just suspended up on a rocky point. But out here on these flats, on the main lake, on the main river, you're looking for rock, you're looking for stumps. And that's the key to fishing a jerkbait out here on the main lake. See how the contour lines are real tight together right here. You're looking at 30 feet of water out here deep. And that's what I was talking about, those contour lines real tight together. You know that there's really deep water that comes up, and it comes up to nearly nothing right up here on the bank. And that's where those fish will hang out this time of year, is right on that edge. And that's where that jerkbait really comes in handy. That's also the kind of stuff you want to look for whenever you're fishing that crankbait in the springtime. They want to be close to that deep water. They want to be able to pull up there, get an easy meal, but be close to that deep water. You can see all those dots right there, and you're getting those big returns on this sonar. Everybody wants to know what those Asian carp look like. These dots are kind of small. They're not your big Asians, but there's a lot of fish that are in the water column right now that are the size of a bass, and they mimic a bass. They look a lot like a bass, but I can drag back right here. You can see how many were down there, and some of them you're getting those bigger arches, but you can see how many are down there on both the down scan and the 2D both. You can see those big arches, and when there's a ton of them like that, chances are it's not a school of bass that you're looking for this time of year, but that is exactly what those carp look like on your graph. The A-rig I won't touch too much on. I mean, everybody knows that an A-rig catches them. Your favorite jig heads, your favorite swim baits, something with some blades on it, I think mimics a school of bait as good as anything. There's not a particular one I think that'll outfish another, so just get your favorite rig and tie you on some baits and sling that thing around out there on some of that stuff. The thing about fishing out here on Kentucky Lake in February, March, it's actually late February right now, but the water temperatures are already starting to, we've had just an unseasonably warm winter. And the first thing people do is they go to the bank this time of year. And there's so many fish still out here offshore. People think of Kentucky Lake offshore fishing, they think of June. Some of the best fishing, some of the biggest stringers caught on this lake is in the month of February and the month of March. On an Alabama rig, on a single swim bait, on a big lipless, you know, kind of yo-yoing it up off bottom, catch them on a big spoon. There's so many different ways to catch them this time of year besides being right up on the bank. And you know, everybody wants to go fish secondary points, chunk rock, and that's a good way. You know, if the sun is high and bright, we're actually out here on a cloudy day today. It's not ideal for fishing the bank because those fish they'll on these cloudy days, they'll kind of sit out here and suspend, and they don't want to get up on the bank real good unless that sun's really out. Water temperatures will push them up there, but like I say, we're low 50s right now. I'm actually reading 54-degree water, which is crazy how warm it already is just right here at the end of February. But the thing about it is always remember that you don't always have to go to the bank. There's plenty of big fish to be caught out offshore in the wintertime, not only in the summer. I hope I've opened your eyes on some things that work in late February, going into March, going into the spring, and use these tips to your advantage. Get out here and, you know, if you're on your own and you don't have much time to practice, I hope that this stuff helps you. You can get on my website, BrandonHunterFishing.com. I offer Lowrance training, one-on-one in your boat. I'll set up your graphs. I'll go out and kind of show you what's going on the lake. I'll do fun fishing trips. There's a lot of different things that I offer. Get on BrandonHunterFishing.com, shoot me an email, info@BrandonHunterFishing.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, and I look forward to sharing a day with you on the water.